The ND Audio Planet has been always in my ears for 2 weeks now, with more than 72 hours of total listening time. My main sources are the Arturio Minifuse 1 single-ended and FIO KA13 4.4mm balanced connection. I have paired the Planet with the Dunu SNS ear tips and the TRN red chain cable. Disclaimer! ND Audio has sent this free sample for my honest and unbiased review. The ND Planet is a 12mm beryllium dynamic driver housed in an old resin shell. Honestly, I expected a little too much from an IEM in this price range, considering KZ and TRN and CVJ's IEM build quality. But ND Audio's budget offerings, the Planet, Venus, and the NX2 are a little too disappointing. At least for the Planet, it looks smooth from afar, but once I held it, it felt too much like a toy with its rough seams and edges. But good thing I could not feel the roughness in my ears. The Planet diorama inside does not look as satisfying as I'd like, even from afar. From afar, it looks okay, but not enough to catch eyes in my opinion. When scrutinizing closer, however, it looks like it was rushed in its construction. It seems to be printed paper pasted around the driver. Otherwise, it's a good concept, but it probably needs better material and assembly. ND Audio should up their game if they want to compete at least with budget KZ, TRN, and CVJ IEMs, at least for the shell quality. But the Planet alone in the cold and dark space is a very good IEM. Now, add more Planets IEMs in and it still competes because of what it offers in its driver and tuning, and its price. But traveling a light year away for higher price IEMs, it will need more refinements in all aspects to confidently compete. At least the shell shape is flat, slightly curved in its edges, a generic shape that can fit most. Finally, the sound. At first listen, I thought this would be the budget IEM I was looking for. Low pinna, satisfying bass, slightly warm mid-range, and accentuated treble. After listening for even longer, I realized that the vocals and percussion soar a little higher than what I was looking for. Though in no ways was I disappointed. Not at all. I was shocked. The Planet offers a laid-back and enjoyable presentation with a very capable driver that still renders micro details despite its pulled back treble. This makes the Planet one of the most scalable sets on a budget, as I could listen to these at medium to high volumes. Though, I could not handle max volume as much as I'd like. From the bass head me, bass rumble though is somewhat lacking in quantity. Just another 1 or 2 decibel boost would have been great. This isn't quite the bass IEM, bass heads aside. So, bass heads looking for quantity will not be satisfied. In bass quality, however, these aren't shy. You can feel and hear the beryllium DD paying off the sub-bass depths, and providing ample attack and decay for the mid-bass and depth to the stage. It also has great sub-bass extension and resolution to be able to sense the bass waves wafting satisfyingly. It does have bass bleed, which warms the mid-range and makes vocals intimate, but does not muddy it too much. Though, I wish that the mid-bass was tucked slightly. Because of this, vocals have ample huskiness and presence and don't sound boomy or thin and have the proximity effect. Bass decays naturally and is quite textured, giving it a nuanced resolution that allows me to distinguish between bass notes. This driver really does push air, though the bass does not resonate to shake the shell at high volumes. Also, Planet Bass Edition, please! This driver is that good. It could handle bass equalization with little distortion. Now, Unfortunately, I found some instances of consonants and percussives feeling like it's slapping me in the face. Ouch, I actually did. It does add to the holographic effect of guitars, including bass guitars and vocals. But the large downside is I flinch from it. That only happens high to max volumes though. At times, vocals sound hunky and shouty. This is why I couldn't listen to maximum volume even with the laid-back treble presentation. Onto the treble. Cymbals and vocals lack appropriate brilliance and splashiness, but vocals have adequate presence though when reaching the high notes. Therefore, cymbals and electronic elements are pushed further back from the stage. This laid-back presentation helps in its scalability. It's not dark sounding though, it just sounds more closed in. Thus, soundstage sounds average or even below average for an IEM. Nothing special to note. Also, contributing to that is the lack of air. At least for me, many people would find the lack of air adequate since that sounds natural. The Planet could have used more air since its upper mid-range is warm and intimate, and soundstage is rather spherical but average to below average in size. Treble extension leaves a lot to be desired, as it loses resolution and vocal articulation. It also hurts its imaging somewhat. Even if percussive sounds very forward, it also sounds blunt, almost falling flat. Cymbals and electronic elements don't sound as splashy, brilliant, and zingy as I'd like. Micro details get lost in busy tracks, but fortunately, the laid-back nature of the Planet keeps itself composed. Sibilance is attenuated slightly too much than what I'd like, which in my opinion does not follow the vocals, the upper mid-range, appropriately. This also does affect bass resolution as well, as air does contribute to the bass texture. Despite the driver being very capable in layering and articulating the bass, the lack of air counteracts its gritty texture by smoothing it. I must say that the Planet's layering is quite impressive because of its price and tuning. Somehow, I could still distinguish between tracks and imagine it as a solid object instead of a 2D object on a painting, which is common to budget IEMs. Again, I must compliment the Beryllium driver once again, and the audio made a good decision allocating most of its budget to the driver. Though, again, they should improve the build quality if they want to compete. Which I'm sure they want to compete, right? The ND Audio Planet is a bold and unique release in the expanding space of budget IEMs, offering a driver in an IEM that many brands price at nearly twice or thrice the price, with a competent tuning that appeals to the treble sensitives, warm mid-range and intimate vocal lovers, while still maintaining bass quality and ample quantity. But those looking to analyze their sound effortlessly should not be looking at the Planet, and should look elsewhere for brighter IEMs, which are prevalent anyway. ND Audio has one big ball to release an IEM that does not conform to the patterns of this world. So, all it takes is another big ball, another bold IEM, which is refined and improved. Thank you very much for listening to my review, and I hope it was helpful. Please feel free to leave any comments, questions, and feedback for the video. Now it's time to gain out.